Configuring name resolutions between DNS zones. Now first, resolving DNS names between zones. Between zones or locally. What happens when we send a name and we want to get the IP address of that name? So how the resolution happens? Now first, in your system, when we are sitting on our system and we ask for some name, like for example, you go to your browser and type this www.microsoft.com. That means you are saying what is the IP address, your machine. Now what you are typing is www.microsoft.com. Now this is actually a server, Microsoft.com server, where the website of Microsoft is hosted. Now when you type this URL in your browser, so your machine, your workstation thinks that what is this, because actually our system works on IP addresses. They do the communication on IP addresses and we use the name. Now our system says what is the IP address of this particular URL or this name. Now for resolving the names we have DNS servers. So DNS do what? It resolves these names to IP addresses, because the communication happens on IP addresses and we can't remember multiple IP addresses. If you see in internet, there are lots of sites, there are thousands of different websites, and we can't remember every IP address of any site, or even we don't remember any IP address of any site. Why? Because of DNS. DNS is doing the job and it is doing what? It is resolving the names for us. Now what first our system say that what is the IP address of this. Now our system don't know anything about it. It don't know anything about it by default. So first what our system do, it checks the host file. Now host file is the old way of resolving the name. It is just a text file which contains the name and IP addresses of the systems. So when you're in local network in old days, what happens, these host files was used. It was used to resolve the names. At that time there is no DNS. So what happened, in every machine in the network, every machine has their own host file, and in that host file it has a records of all the other systems. That means in the text file it is written that this is the name of the machine and this is the IP address of the machine. Name, IP, it has all the records of every machine. Now it was good for the small network, but when the network grows, and such as like internet, and in internet we have thousands of different sites and thousands of different servers we can access. So what happened, this host file is not able to handle that all records. So we have what? DNS servers. But still our system first checks the host file. It checks the host file for the resolution. Nowadays still in every machine, every new system also has a host file, but it does not have any records. It has only default of local host record. So it does not have any record in the host file. So basically when your system says what is the IP address of www.microsoft.com, then it try to check it into the host file and it will not find, because there is no record there in the host file. So what next? Next it will check for DNS. It will go for DNS server. So what our system do? It will try to check the DNS server. So in every system what we do, we give DNS server IP address. Now DNS server IP address is, this is the DNS server which we have in the local system. So this DNS server IP address is of the local DNS server, what is in our network. So our system do what? It will send the query for this name to DNS server. Now DNS server, this query is called iterative query. Now DNS server will check what is this fully qualified domain name. This name which we see here, www.microsoft.com, it is called fully qualified DNS domain name. In this, the first www is actually a machine name, then .microsoft.com is the domain name. Now what our DNS server do, This is the normal DNS server. Then this DNS server do what? It will check what is the domain name. So it says that the domain name is Microsoft.com. Now the local DNS server is the normal DNS server. It will check that whether this DNS server has any zone file related to this domain Microsoft.com. Now it will say that whether it has any zone file for that domain. Now it does not. If it is not having a domain zone file for this domain, and it will not have, because this domain belongs to Microsoft and they have their DNS servers with this zone. So local DNS server will not have that information about that zone. Now what this DNS server do? It will say that I am not an authoritative DNS server. Now authoritative DNS server, that means the server which can respond with the entry with the queries of clients. So the queries which it can respond, it can only the response of those queries which zones this DNS server has. So if this DNS server does not have any zone about this Microsoft.com or any domain, any .com, any domain name, then it is not called authoritative DNS server for that domain. It will be only authoritative server for that domain which it has these zone files. Now Microsoft.com zone file it does not have. So this DNS server says I am not an authoritative server, but what I can do, I can find the name for you, and then it will do what? It will do the recursive queries. It will do the recursive queries for trying to resolve the name of this Microsoft.com, www.microsoft.com, and for that our local DNS server will send the information, send the query to root hint server. This root hint server indicate by the dot. It indicates by the dot. That means whenever you give any name www.microsoft.com, at the end of the name you will have a dot here. We don't write it, but basically it is having a dot at the end, and that dot indicates the root hint server. Now how the DNS server, how our local DNS server knows about this root hint server? So actually whenever we configure the DNS server, so in that DNS server by default we have all the root hint servers IP addresses. All the root hint servers which we have in the world with the different zones. In total we have 13 root hint servers, different servers for different zones. So all those servers IP addresses and name is stored into the local DNS server. So what our local DNS server will send the request for the root hint server about this www.microsoft.com. Now query goes to root hint servers. Now root hint servers are the servers available on the internet, and these servers are special kind of servers. They do what? They only give references. They don't give query. They don't give answers. So this recursive query when goes to this DNS server, root hint DNS servers, which is the closest one for this local DNS server. So it will do what? It will try to see what is this Microsoft.com. So root hint servers try to see what is this .com. Here you will see .com, .net, .org, .edu for education. These are called top level DNS servers. So root hint servers see that what is the top level DNS server. You can see is here under the Microsoft. So what you see here is the .com. Now just like the .com, we have multiple different top level DNS servers. Those DNS servers are like .com for commercial, .net is also for commercial. Then you have .net, .org for the organizations, .gov for governments, government websites, then .edu for educational. So just like that, we have these top level DNS servers available on internet. So these root hint servers do what? It will check that whether it is .com, .net, .org, .edu or .gov. So based on that, what the root hint server will say, it say that to go to the closest .com, because here in the domain name it is Microsoft.com. So this root in server sends the reply, and reply is a reference for the closest .com server. It says go to .com server where you will find the information about this Microsoft.com. So then what, our local server will send the query to the closest .com server, .com DNS server, top level DNS server. Now here, when our query reaches to this .com server, that top level DNS server, so what it will do, it will see what is the domain name, and the domain name is Microsoft. So it will try to see whether it has any information about that Microsoft domain. Now how the information about Microsoft will come here? It will come when we register the domain. That means when you want to start your website or you want to start your domain, then what you have to do, if you want your domain should be accessed from the internet, then what you have to do, you have to register your domain. So you have to register your domain, and when you register your domain, so based on your top level, what is your top level, mostly we do commercial.com or .net we use, or this GOV for the governments, and ORGs for the organization, EDUs for the educational organizations. So mostly for commercially we use .com. So when we register our domain, so it will register our domain into this top level DNS servers. So if we have registered our domain into the top level DNS servers, then what? It can give the answer, otherwise it will not give the answer. That means if you are having a local domain and local websites you are running, so those websites cannot be accessed from internet because you have not registered. Your information is not that not in this top level DNS server. So if anyone tries to query it, it will go till this top level DNS server, and then from here your query will be dropped. So if you want that your domain must be accessed from the internet, then you have to do what? You have to register your domain. Now Microsoft has done what? It has also registered its domain. It has registered in the domain into the commercials or top level DNS servers. So the information about the Microsoft domain is registered here under the .com top level DNS server. So what information it will have here? The information it has is the information about the DNS servers of this Microsoft.com. That means the DNS server which has the information about the zone Microsoft.com. So this .com, this domain zone file is with this DNS server, and this DNS server IP addresses are registered with that Microsoft domain name in this top level DNS server. So basically when we register our domain name, our name of the domain with the DNS servers will be registered here in the top level DNS servers. Now what this top level DNS server will do? In reply, it will send the reference of the Microsoft domain DNS which has the zone file of Microsoft.com. So it will give the reference to our local DNS server that you should go to this DNS server, and this DNS server will resolve your name. So then our local DNS server will send the query to Microsoft's DNS server. Now this DNS server will, again this is a normal DNS server, it is located under the Microsoft Office. So it do what? It will check the domain name. It will check the domain name. What is the domain name? Microsoft.com. Then it checks that whether I have the zone file for this domain. So it has a zone file because it is the domain of this Microsoft itself. So when it says that this is the domain of myself, then what it do? It will say that I am the authoritative server. Now I can answer the query, and if I say yes, then yes, no, then no. So yes or no I will say. I will not do any recursive query now because this is the authoritative DNS server. Now what this DNS server will do, then it will check the records of its zone files, forward lookup zone or reverse lookup zone, and then it will check that what is the name of the machine. Now here it will say that domain name is now fixed, like Microsoft.com is there. Then it will check the www. Now www mostly it is a machine name. Mostly it will be the alias for the real name. So it will see that what is this www. Mostly it is an alias. Alias, that means the other name of the other machine. So it will check whether the name of this www is there on this machine, is DNS server or not. It will try to see the record, whether the record is there or not. Now if it is find the record, then it will reply to the local DNS server that I found the record and this is the IP address. And if it is not found the record, then it will say error. It will say that no, the record is not found. That means and it can say because this is the authoritative DNS server. So what this DNS server will do, it will check its records under the forward lookup zone or reverse lookup zone. This query is for the forward lookup zone, so it will check it into the forward lookup zone, and it will say what is the name and what is the IP address of this name, and it will send the reply to local DNS server that this is the IP address. The IP address is this. Now this local DNS server will do what? It will send the reply to our local machine, and that is how it works. So this local DNS server then send the reply to our workstation, which is asking for this IP address, and then our workstation will do what? It will connect this IP address for the website, and then it will go to connect that site, and then the web server will respond with the Microsoft.com website. So this is the whole process happens whenever you try to do the name resolution. Now if suppose in internal, if you have configured your internal DNS server for your local environment, so the queries will be resolved from only the local DNS server. Now if it is not able to find the query result, then it will do what? It will send the query to all the other, this root hint, top level, and then it will try to find this. So it will try to do the recursive query to find all these find all these other DNS servers to check and get the records or the IP address of this particular URL. Now we have forward lookup zone and we have reverse lookup zone in the DNS. Now in that, when we create the zone, we have three options to create the zone. First primary, and then secondary, and then we have the option to create stub zone. Now primary zone is the primary zone which has the read-write copy of the zone, where you can read and write the records. That means you can create the record, you can delete the records. The secondary zone is a secondary zone which does not have a read-write option. That means in a secondary zone you cannot create any record, you cannot delete any record. The records will be available from the primary zone. That means it will be replicated from the primary zone. Then the other zone, the third zone we have is the stub zone. So when we create the zone, we have an option to create the stub zone. Now stub zone, what is this stub zone? So stub zone is what? It is the zone which has the special records of the special information about the other DNS servers. Other DNS servers of other domain. Now consider this image here. This is the forest. This is our whole forest of the Microsoft domain, where we have the root domain here, contoso.com. Then we have na.contoso.com. This is the child domain of contoso.com. Then we have ny.na.contoso.com. This is the child domain of this NA. This ny is a child of NA. Then we have other tree domain which is sa.contoso.com, and this sa.contoso.com has one child of the rio.sa.contoso.com. So these are what tree, these are the whole forest we have, and these are the different childs and parent domains. And these two trees are we having in the forest. Now we have another domain also, which is also our tree domain, that is fabricon.com, and this is what na.fabricate.com is the child of this domain. Now the child domain, when you create the other tree domain, so it is not necessary to have the same name of that root domain. All these child domain, if you see, they are same, they are having the same name of the parent domain, but this tree domain does not relate, does not have a name, does not contain the name of the root domain. It is a different domain name, or maybe suppose this is the different domain on internet. Now what we have to do, if you are sitting on this domain and then you want to get any resources of other domain other than this contoso.com, so you have to send the query to different servers. Now what your query will do, your query will go to root, your query will go to here, your query will go to then na.fabricam.com. Now it is a long way to go to this, reach to this. It is not like directly it is going. It will go first, it will go to its parent domain, try to find it, the result records, then it will go to here, then it will go to here, then it will go to here, where it is there. So the records are in fabricam.com. Now stub zone what do? Without the stub zone, what happened? The ny.na.contoso.com, which is this one, server must query several servers to find the server that hosts the na.fabricam.com zone. So it has to go for every domain here, every DNS server to find out that which DNS server is having this particular domain zone file, na.fabricam.com. Now it is a long way to find this and it will take a lot of time. So instead of going for everyone, what we can do, we can create a stub zone here directly under the ny.na.com. In this DNS server of this domain, what we will do, we will create the stub zone, and in that stub zone we will create the stub zone for na.fabricam.com here, and in that stub zone what we have the special records, the special record like the SOA record, which is the starter authority server for this domain, the fabricam.com, and then NS records. NS records, that means what are the name servers, which are the name servers we have in the na.fabricam.com. So whenever our clients from this contoso.com, ny.na.contoso.com wants to go to any machine in this domain and wants to try to resolve any name, so it does not have to go to every other domain to find the record. It will directly consult the stub zone, and then from the stub zone it will know that what are the DNS servers of this fabricam.com and what is the IP address of the DNS servers of this na.fabricam.com. So they don't have to go to any other domain, they can directly contact that DNS server for records. So they don't have to go to every server for that, because we have created the stub zone here. We can do it for the internet domain also. Like for example, in our domain, this is our domain ny.na.contoso.com, and from here we are connecting a different domain. Like for example, we are going to Gmail every time, or Google, or Hotmail, or whatever. Like for example, we will say google.com. Every time our machines, our clients are used to connect that Google, gmail.com every time. So they need that domain information. Now if they don't have that, what they do the whole query like this. Like this, they will do the whole query like this to find out the result of that domain. Now we don't want to do that, so what we can do, we can create the stub zone for Google or Gmail here under this domain. So they don't have to go every time to find out the DNS server, do the whole process. They don't have to do that. They can directly connect to that DNS servers to get the records. So this stub zone is a special kind of zone which contain only the records of startup authority servers and name servers. It does not have any A records or PTR records. Host records does not contain. It does not contain any host record. It contains the records of the name servers basically and startup authority servers. Now when you see this process of resolving the name, it will take a lot of time. It can take a lot of time to go to root hint server, then go to top level DNS server, then it will give the reference, and then it will go to this Microsoft.com server, DNS server, then it will give the answer. Now it will be a long way for the resolving the name. So there is one more thing here, that our machines, our DNS servers do what? It do the caching. It do the caching, that means when you resolve the name, so what happens? Your system do what? it will cache the query. That means when our client do the resolution, suppose from this client 1, if I try to query microsoft.com, www.microsoft.com, so it will do the whole process, and then it will do what? It will cache. When it got the answer, it will cache it into the memory of cache memory in our client machine. So next time when you try to get the name again, it will try to give you answer from directly the cache. So basically, when you in your system, when you try to type the name, any name, when you type any name, so first it will do what? It will check the cache, then it will go for host file, and then it will go for DNS server. So the first your system do what? It will check the cache and then go for the host file, and then it will go for the DNS server. So our system do what? It will do the caching, and if it is in the cache, then it will go for it, and if it is not in the cache, then what? It will go for the host file and then DNS server. The same thing the DNS server also do. Our DNS server will also do the caching. That means it will also cache all the records which it's resolved, so that when other client wants to have the same record, it will give the record from the cache. So for example, this client 1 wants to access the record, so the query will go, and then what happened? It caches the record. The DNS server will do what? It will caches the record, that server a.contoso.com. This is the IP address, and the time to leave is what? 28 seconds. So this is what TTL is what? Time to leave 28 seconds, and within 28 seconds it has resolved it. So it will resolve and it will cache. Now who will cache? First our internal DNS server will cache that this is the record, and our machine also caches that. Now DNS server will cache it, so that if other client wants to have the same record, it does not have to do the whole process again to find the record. It will give the answer from the cache. So for example, then the client 2 wants to get the access, where is server A, then it will directly give the response from the internal DNS server cache. So it will give the information from directly from the cache, and it will not go for the whole process to find out the name, the IP address of this server A. So this is what DNS caching. So DNS caching done by the client also, and the DNS server also do the caching, and it will do cache for other clients. Like if the other client wants the same record, then it will give the record answer from the caching. Then we have DNS forwarding. What is DNS forwarding? Now forward is a DNS server that is designated to resolve external or off-site DNS domain names. Now the reason we create the stub zone, the same reason we create the forwarders also. That means if suppose our local DNS server try to find any query, like this client sends a recursive query for mail1.contoso.com, it goes to our DNS server. Now our DNS server is it sends the query to forwarders. Now forwarders do what? It will have the record of the other domain directly. Now it does not have to do this iterative queries. It does not have to do the iterative query to find out the contoso.com. It will not do the go to the root end server, not go to the ask for the top level DNS server. It will have the record under the forwarders, and that is what we configured it manually. So for example, we have the other domain and we want to connect that domain regularly. So we can do what? We can create the forwarders in our DNS server. So in forwarders, what we create that this is the domain name, and the domain name DNS server IP is this. So when you want to connect that domain, so what? Your query will go to the DNS server, and DNS server will say that whether it is my domain, it is not my domain. Then it will check whether I am having any forwarders or not. So if it is having any forwarders record, then it will send the query to that. Or if it is not having any forwarders record, then it will go for the root end server. So basically, suppose for example our domain is example.com, and we want to go our client send the query. Our DNS server has a domain is a domain of example.com. Now our client send the query for contoso.com. So what, this is the different domain. Now what our internal DNS server do? It will say I'm not an authoritative server, so I will do the recursive query. Now before doing the recursive query, what our DNS server will check, that whether I am having any stub zone related to contoso.com. If it is not the stub zone, there is no stub zone, then it will check whether I have any forwarders record, the forwarders record for related to the contoso.com. And if it is not having the forwarders record, then it will go for the root hint server, then top level DNS server, then try to find the record. Now if it is having the forwarders record, then it will send the request to that record, that is whatever the IP it has on that forwarders record. So we can create stub zones also, and we can create forwarders also. Now we can create stub zone and forwarders, but we have to see what is the guidance, like when to use the conditional forwarding. So first, when to use the conditional forwarding, where if you want to create the forwarding, so points to a different domain name. So if you want to point to a different domain name, then what, we can create the forwarders. The name can even be in the different top level. So even a different top level DNS, we can create the forwarders. Now when you want all name resolution for the name to take a particular path, or for example you want to take a special path, that means you want to go a special path of the name resolution, and you want all the name resolution for that name, for that particular name, for example contoso.com, to take a particular path. Now when to use the stub zone? Usually when the domain name is below a higher level and delegation below a delegation, below a delegation. That means if suppose you want to resolve a domain name which is a second level DNS layer, not a higher level, it is a second level DNS. For example, we have seen the fabricum.com. For example, this fabricum.com is the top level one, and this is the below the top level, this is na.fabrica.com. So if we want to create the record for this domain, so it is a good idea to create this stub zone. But if we want to create for this fabricum.com, so we can create the forwarders. We can create the forwarders from here to there. This is the top level DNS server of other domain. So we can create the forwarder for this, like from the contoso.com root domain to fabricum root domain. So it will be what, forwarders. But if we want to create a second level domain, then what we can do, we can create the stub zone. Then configuring the delegation. Delegation means the domain is delegated to a particular DNS server. That means the DNS server which can resolve the records of that particular domain. That happens for the subdomains. Now when we create a Microsoft domain forest, Microsoft Forest, Active Directory Forest, so we have the root domain, and then we have the child domains, or we can say the subdomain. But remember, DNS is separate from Active Directory, but Active Directory is not separated from DNS. So when we talk about the DNS domain name in Microsoft, we are actually talking about the Microsoft DNS, Microsoft domain. But if suppose you have only DNS, you don't have a Active Directory, then this will be the top level DNS domain, and this is the subdomain for the DNS. So you have to create the delegation here. So when you are not having the Active Directory, then you have to create the delegation manually. That means you have to create the subdomain name sales, you will create the zone for the sale, and then you have to delegate the zone to some DNS server. So you will delegate the zone to a DNS server. So that DNS server will be a delegated server to resolve the query related to that domain. So delegation is given for the subdomain of the top domain. So this contoso.com is a top level domain, and we want to create another domain, another department domain like sales or marketing. So we want to create what, a subdomain for it, and we want to we will do what, we will create the delegation, and that delegation, that means it will comes under the contoso.com, and then it will comes under the contoso.com, and it will be delegated to a particular DNS server. But when we create an Active Directory domain, and the Active Directory domain with the DNS, Remember, without DNS we can't create the Active Directory domain. Then we don't have to create delegation separately. It will be created automatically when we create the child domain. That means this contoso.com is the parent domain, and when we create a child domain, so it will be delegated, it will automatically get the delegation from the parent domain, parent DNS domain. So we don't have to create the delegation manually in Active Directory environment. It is only for what? Manually only for what? When you have only DNS environment and you don't have Active Directory environment. Then you will create the manually, you will create the zone delegation. Now we can see how it works. Our machine is connected to DNS. Now we have a tool called NSLOOKUP to do the resolution thing, and this is my DNS server. Now if I want to get the record, so I will give the name here, www.microsoft.com. Now when I give this record, then what happened? My query will go to this, my local DNS server. Then this DNS server will say, okay, I'm not an authoritative server, so it will do all the recursive query which we can't see. It happens in the background, and then it will try to find the name IP of this name. So when I press enter, I get the record here. I get that this is the name. Now you see here, it is showing a different name here. It is not showing the name which I was queried for. Why? Because these are all aliases. These are the different name we have, and these are all names of this single server. Now this server has this IPv6 addresses, and then this is the IPv4 address of that server. Now one more thing, what it is saying here, that it is non-authoritative answer. Why it is non-authoritative answer? Because it is not given by the DNS server of that domain. It is not coming, the information is not coming from this domain, this DNS server. It is coming from my DNS server, which is not authoritative for that particular domain. So it is not authoritative for that particular domain. The information is coming from my DNS server. Like for example, I will go for facebook.com. Now what it will do? Again it is showing me non-authoritative answer, and it is showing that this is the real name and this is an alias for that. And why it is saying not non-authoritative? Because the query answer is coming from not from this the DNS server which has the zone file of this domain. It is coming from the my DNS server. Now when you do the communication, then what happened? It will check first what? Host file. Our system still check for the host file, and before the host file it will do check the cache. So when you resolve any name, it will check the cache. So if you want to see the cache of your system, so you can do what? You can run this command. ipconfig display DNS, and it shows all the cache records, all the record what we have in the cache. Now these records we did not resolve, but these records happens to resolve in the background because our system continuously our applications do try to connect the different sites, because our machine has some network aware applications, and they try to connect every time the internet, and when they connect they resolve the name. So you can see the domain name here which is resolving here, and the answer, it is a C name, it is an alias, and this is the IP address for that alias. So just like this we have multiple other resolutions. This is for this domain, these all resolution related to that. Now these all information is cached. This all information is cached here, and this is for the google.com we have tried. So these all information is cached here. So our system already have these cached, so whenever we try to resolve the name, it will give me answer from the cache. It will not go for the DNS server, it will not check the DNS server. It will give me the answer from the cache. Now sometime it can be a problem, because sometimes suppose your DNS server, the IP address is changed. Suppose the IP address for this particular site is changed now, but in our cache it is showing still this IP address. So whenever we try to get this domain, it will do what? It will give me this IP address. But this is what a wrong IP address, because it is in the cache. You will get the information from the cache, and sometimes you will get not found, or you will found wrong addresses. Then what you have to do, you have to clear the cache and then retry it. So if suppose you are having a problem of query the name, then what we can do, we can clear the cache by using ipconfig and then flush DNS. It will flush the DNS, it will remove the cache, clear the cache, and then you can retry, you can try to get information again. Now you see we have very few remaining. All the cache is removed and we don't have any information available. We have only this reverse address. This is for my own router, and this is my machine name itself. So it is resolving my name only. So there is no other name it is showing here. Now when you resolve any name, then it will go into cache again. So for example, I will ping to www.facebook.com, and now what? It will go to cache. Now when I say display DNS, it's generated the whole cache and cache for other domain also. Now this is for, because of my quickheal.com, I have an antivirus, so it is resolving the names, trying to connect in background, and it is generating these records. So always it do what? It will create the cache, and you want to clear the cache, then you will run the command flush DNS to clear the cache. Now this is our domain, and this is our local domain. This is domain with the zone file apple.com, and this zone file is available on this DNS server. So this DNS server is authoritative for this zone file. So whatever the answer it will give for this domain file, this zone file, it will be authoritative answer. That means it will give you the authoritative answer from here. So if suppose I will do the query here, I will go and run this. CMD, and I will try to do the query here. I will run ns lookup here. So this is our server name, and this is the IP address of the server. This is our own DNS server, server 2, as we can see here, server 2. Now I will try to resolve any name. I will say I want to resolve server 2.apple.com. Now what we see here, we directly see the answer. It is not saying non-authoritative answer. It is directly giving the answer because it is authoritative answer. It is authoritative answer and directly coming from the server, DNS server, which is having this zone, apple.com. Now we can create the stub zone also related to other domain. Like if you want, then you can create the new zone. Next, and this is the option to create the stub zone. And remember, this zone creates a copy of a zone containing only name servers. So it will do what? When you create this zone, at that time your domain must be connected. Your machine, your server must be connected to that other domain, which domain you want to create the stub zone. So it will do what? It will create the copy. It will connect that that DNS server which has that zone, and then it will try to get the information from that zone. All these DNS name servers, startup authority servers records from there. So when you go next, you'll say what you want, forward or reverse. I will say okay, I want forward zone. Then it says which zone you want. Now I'm giving just an example. I want to create the zone for vivo.com. Now it says this will be the zone file it is going to create, because it is not integrated to Active Directory. So it is not going to store the database in the Active Directory database. It is going to store the database into this file, which is located under the Windows System 32 DNS directory. Now it is saying that what is the IP address of that zone DNS server. That means the zone vivo.com. What is the IP address of that zone DNS server? The DNS server which is the responsible for that zone. Now if I give this IP address, for example, I will give 200 and now it is trying to see it is trying to do what, but it is not connecting it. Let's see what I will do. I will change it to sai.com. Now you see it is corrected. So when I gave the vivo.com, it was saying wrong here, because the IP address, this IP address 192.168.0.200, it is actually on server 1, and that server has a domain of sai.com. So now it is saying this is correct. So now it will do what? It will connect that DNS server and try to create the important records here. I will say okay, I want it, and I will say finish. Now you will see the record here about the sai.com. Now it says here zone not loaded by DNS server. Now it is not loading here. Let's try to refresh it. And now what we got here? We got the SO records, SOA record, which is server 1. Then we got the NS record, and also we got some A records. That is static. So this is what the stub zone we created. Stub zone for the other domain which we want to go directly. We don't want to don't want to go to the whole different servers to find out the record of this domain. So we can create what? The stub zone. Now if our machine, if from our client, if anyone wants to resolve the name for this domain, then they can resolve it. So for example, I will go to CMD and I will try to ping server1.sai.com. So I am getting the response because I am having the stub zone, and this record directly I am getting from this stub zone. I am not doing the whole process of going to root hint and do the whole recursive query thing. Now if I delete the stub zone, I deleted the stub zone, and also I will refresh my server. Now there is no stub zone available, and now if I try to resolve this, what I am getting here, I am still getting the response, and that is because of cache. That is because of cache. So we will clear the cache. Let's check the cache here. So it is still having the record under the cache, we can see. So now what I will do, I will clear the cache. So that means what? Every time when you try to resolve your any name, it will first check into the cache and then it will go for the DNS server. Now when I try to do again ping, I am still getting it, and still getting it from the DNS cache. It is getting from the cache from the DNS. It is still cache into the DNS. Our DNS server will also do what? It also do the caching. So I can clear the cache from here. So we can clear the cache of our DNS server by right clicking on DNS server and then clearing it from here. Now instead of the stub zone, if we have a top level zone there, you want to create the top level DNS servers record here. So what we can do, we can create the forwarders, and for creating the forwarders we have to right click on our DNS server, and then we have to go to the properties of this DNS server, where we have the option to create the forwarders. Under the tab of forwarders, we can create the forwarders here. And for creating the forwarders, now here we will go for edit, and we can add the name and IP address here. Must be connected. Remember, it must be connected to resolve. If it is not connected, then it will say can't resolve it. It will resolve later. It is trying to resolve the name, and because we have not we have removed the stub zone is not there, it does not know anything about it. It is trying. Okay, now it is resolved. And then what, here we have the number of seconds before forward the query to timeout. So if suppose we have 3 timeouts, we can set the timeout here. So number of seconds before forward the query timeout, that means 3 seconds after it will do start forwarding the queries. So this is the server for the this is the IP address, and this is the server we want to forward. Now there is one more option it has here. It says the use route hint if no forwarders are available. So if there is no forwarders we have configured, then what it will do, it will start going for the route hint servers, and that it will do the whole process to resolve the name. Now for example, if we want to if we don't want to do the forwarders, if you don't want to do the route hint servers, that means if you don't want to do the whole recursive query, then you can do what, we can remove it, and it will only do the resolution for this forwarders, and if it is not fine, then it will give error. And if you want to do the recursive query, then we can select this also. So this is what the forwarders we create for the other domains. Now configuring DNS integration with Active Directory. So Active Directory, we want to configure the DNS with the Active Directory. Now what is the benefit we have when we configure the DNS with Active Directory? Now suppose when we don't have an Active Directory, we have normally DNS server which is having the primary DNS server and secondary DNS server. Now primary DNS server or other primary DNS server or primary or secondary DNS server. So what they do? They do the resolution, they send the information from one DNS server to other DNS server. That means when we create any record in the primary DNS server, so that record also must be updated in the secondary DNS server. So for that, what this primary DNS server will do, it will do the zone transfer. It will transfer the zone information from this DNS server to this DNS server directly. Now because they are not a domain, they are not with Active Directory, so the zone transfer will happen very unsecurely. Remember, the zone information which is stored with this DNS server stores, these informations are normal text file. You can see that, and it is relocated under Windows System 32. This is our DNS server, and it has stored the information into our local system and in the Windows System 32 in DNS directory. So when you go there, it is a normal text file. So if you go to the Windows directory under C, Windows, and under System 32, now here we have a directory called DNS, and the DNS, inside the DNS we have the record for these domain. You can see here apple.com, and the domain which we created, the stub zone, that information is still there, and that is why it was resolving. So we have this file here. If you see, if you open the file in text document notepad, I will open it in notepad. So So you can see the whole record. It's a normal text record. You see here what is the startup authority server, what are these information about the reference, serial number, refresh, retry, expiry and all. Then this is the name server we have. These are the C names we have. These are the A records we have. Then we have another C name. So actually we have all the information here, and this is a simple, not encrypted. Anyone can open it and anyone can see this. Now this is not secure. Same as for the reverse zone, we can open it also in the notepad, and we can see the all reverse records, PTR records, IP to name, same thing. This stub zone we have created, this also has a record, and we can see that also. So everything, all these database are what in a simple text format. Now this is not secure because if it wants to send the information to other DNS server, then it will send it with this text. It will send it in clear text. It send the information in clear text, and any hacker, if they grab that file in between, at the time it was transferring, then what, they can see the whole information. They can see the whole information, and they can see what is the name and IP addresses of the particular system. Now when we integrated the DNS with Active Directory, and we don't have to integrate it manually, because it is by default when you install the DNS server, when you install and when you configure the Active Directory services, it needs the DNS. It is compulsory to have DNS. So when we install this Active Directory services, it wants DNS compulsory. So it will, if it is there, then it will use the DNS server to create the records, and if it is not there, then it will create the DNS server by itself. And then what it will do, it will store the zone for the Active Directory domain into the DNS, for the DNS into the Active Directory database. So when you have a domain controllers in the domain, so when you create the domain, you are creating the domain controllers, and we can create multiple domain controllers, and all those domain controllers, what they have their Active Directory database with other databases. And also when you create the Active Directory, we have to create the DNS also. So DNS services also will be there on that domain controllers. So when we create the domain, it will create the DNS, and the zone it creates on the DNS, it will be integrated to Active Directory, and the information about the zone will not be stored into the plain text file. It will be stored into the Active Directory database. Now when the Active Directory database will replicate from one domain controller to other domain controller, then the DNS information will be also replicated from one DNS server to other DNS server, because the DNS servers itself is a domain controller. So the information, DNS information, the zone information will also transfer or replicated through the Active Directory replication, and it is a secure replication, and the replication of Active Directory is secure, and with that the DNS replication will also happens, and it will happen for the Active Directory integrated DNS zones. So when the replication happens, so it will replicate with the Active Directory database. What are the service resource locator records? Now this is very important for Active Directory. So domain controllers registers these SRV records as follows, like tcp.aeroterm.com. This resource record is for all domain controllers in the domain. It will show the information about all the domain controllers in the domain. Then tcp.sitename.sites.aeroterm.com. It has all the services in the specific site. So this clients query the DNS to locate the services in the specific site. So these services records are very important for the domain, because it locate the all services of the Active Directory from the DNS. So if any clients want to get the services, then it will get the information from the for the services from the DNS. and that is why the DNS is very tightly integrated with Active Directory in Microsoft environment. So we need this DNS services if we want to install the Active Directory services. So that Active Directory services create all the resources records related to the domain in the DNS servers, and those records are called SRV records. SRV, that means service location records. So benefits of service resources records, resources locator record is benefits what? Domain controllers register with SRV resources records dynamically by services and site location. So these records will be registered dynamically. Client system inside uses the SRV records in a site to find the domain controllers in their own site before attempting to connect to a domain controllers across wide area network. So before, suppose we have different sites in different countries. One country has one site where we have domain controllers and all the other clients, and the other domain controller in the other country, and other these clients are also there. Now if the client wants to connect to the domain, then what they do, they don't go for the other site through the wide area network, wide area network connection. It will get the information about its local site domain controller from the DNS servers, these SRV records. This keeps the network traffic across the link down and manageable. Now what are the Active Directory integrated zones we have? So an Active Directory integrated zones we have that allow multiple masters write to zone. That means we can have a multiple zone master can write into the zone, then replicates the zone DNS information by using the ADDS replication. That means the zone information will also be replicated through the Active Directory replications. This leverages the efficient replication topology and uses the efficient incremental updates for Active Directory replication process. So Active Directory actually creates its own topology, efficient topology for replication the database, and with that the DNS will also do its own replication. So enable secure dynamic updates. Now here we can enable the secure dynamic updates also in the zone, because the secure dynamic update, that means the dynamic update can only be done by the Active Directory clients, no other machines, and if the machine is not in the part of the domain, then they cannot do the dynamic update. So our dynamic update feature can also be used here, and it will do what? It will do the secure dynamic update. We can delegate the zone domains and resources records for increased security also. Then application partition in ADDS. Now when we talk about the Active Directory services, so Active Directory services database is actually divided into different partitions. In that partitions we have the domain partition, we have config partition and schema partition, and then we have the DNS zone partition. We have the zone partition, is we can say it is also called the application partition in Active Directory services. The domain partition contains the replicate all the domain controllers in the Active Directory domains. So this domain partition do what? It will replicate all the domain controllers in the Active Directory domains. And the config partition contains the config information about the domain, Active Directory domain or forest. And the schema contains the whole schema of the Active Directory forest. Now these are the different partitions here. With that partitions we have the domain DNS zone also. In these partitions what we have, first the domain zone, domain DNS zone, that will replicate to all domain controllers that are DNS servers in the Active Directory domain services. So when we have the Active Directory domain, and in the Active Directory domain we have all the domain controllers which is also a DNS server, so that this zone will be transferred for will be replicated to all those domain controllers. Then we have the forest DNS zones. Now these zones will be replicated to all domain controllers that are DNS servers in the Active Directory forest. Basically the Active Directory domain controller is also a DNS server. So the DNS servers or domain controllers, this replication happens to the domain, this domain DNS zone, and for a DNS zone happens to replicate into the whole forest. Then this custom partitions that we can create, this will replicate to a domain controllers in their application scope for the application partition. So this will do what we create customly. So it will create and replicate to all domain controllers in the replication scope for the application partition which we create, the scope which we create. Now when the domain zone is, the DNS zone is integrated to the Active Directory, so the dynamic updates, how the dynamic update happens. So first the client sends an SOA query record. It will send the SOA query information request in the domain to find out that who is the startup authority DNS server in the environment. Now the DNS server returns an SOA record, resource record about the DNS server which is the startup authority server. Then the client sends the dynamic update request to identify the primary DNS server. Then it will send the request to identify the primary DNS server for updating the record. Then the DNS server responds that it can confirm an update. Then the primary DNS server will do what? It will confirm that I can update because I am having configured with the dynamic update. If it is not configured with the dynamic update, then it will give the error that no, I am not going to update dynamically because I am set to create the records manually. Now the client sends unsecured update to the DNS server. Now if the zone permits only secure update, the update is refused. Now remember, we have dynamic update two options when we create the zone, secure and unsecure. Secure updates happens only when the domain zone is integrated with Active Directory, and if it is not integrated with Active Directory, then still we can do the dynamic update, but that is not secure. And if it is not secure, that means we should not do that, because it is very it will create a very much vulnerability in DNS servers. But still, first our client will do what? It will send the unsecure update. It will try to send the unsecure update to the DNS server, and the DNS server zone, if it is integrated with Active Directory, then it will refuse the update. It will say I can't update because I have configured to update only secure update. Then the client sends the secure update to the DNS server. Now secure update, that means it will say that I am the domain member and I can update the records. Now when you want to configure the Active Directory integrated ADDS integrated zone, then we can do it by two ways. There is a two way we can create the zone with Active Directory integration. The first way is to promote the server as a domain controller. Now when we promote the server with the domain controller, so with the domain controller it will create the zone with the integrated with the Active Directory services. So when we create a domain controller, so it will create the DNS also, and DNS with the primary zone, and with the primary zone it will do what? It will create the zone which is integrated with the Active Directory. And if it is already created and we want to create another zone which you want to create as a integrated with Active Directory services, then we just have to do what? We have to just select what zone we want, primary, secondary or stub, and with that we have to select the option that is store the zone in Active Directory. But this option will only be available if you are creating the DNS zone on a domain controller. If it is not a domain controller, then you will not get this option. So we can create the Active Directory integrated zone only on domain controller. Either we create the domain controller with Active Directory integrated zone, or we can create the Active Directory integrated zone after creating the domain controller. But if you don't have Active Directory domain controller and you are creating the zone on another machine on a member server which is not a domain controller, then you will not get this option. Now this is our server 3 which is under the work group. Now there is no DNS server services also installed here. Now if I want to create the DNS services with Active Directory integrated zone, then what we can do, we can just promote this server to be a domain controller. So when we promote this server to be a domain controller, then what it will install the Active Directory services, configure the services with the DNS services. Without DNS it will not work. So what we can do, we can just promote this server. For the promotion, we have to install the Active Directory services here. This is the first way we can do. So I will select domain Active Directory domain services. Active Directory domain services, and then next, and it is going to install this, and it will reboot first, and then it will ask us to do what? Configuration. First it will do configuration, then it will reboot. Before reboot we have to configure it. So this will install the services, binaries and library files. Then after installing this, then it will ask us to configure the domain, configure the Active Directory services, and it will also ask that where is your DNS server. Now our domain controller is already created, and we have a domain already installed, or we can create the new domain. So if you want to join this server to an existing domain, then the domain DNS is already there on the domain controller. So you will get the option to install the DNS or not install the DNS. But we want to install the DNS, so we can select to install the DNS. Okay, it is configured. The services are installed. Now it is saying promote this server to domain controller. Now we have option to create the new domain controller on an existing domain, or we want to create add a new domain to an existing forest, or we want to create the new forest. So if you want to create the domain controller in an existing domain, then you will get the option to create DNS or not to create the DNS. Now if you create the DNS, then it will create the DNS server onto this domain controller also, and it will create the zone. It will create the zone for it. We'll do it for the start. Like for example, we are just creating right now a fresh domain with the domain our fresh forest. So I will do what? vivo.com. I'm creating a new forest, new domain. And it is going to create a new domain, and it is going to install the DNS, and it will create the zone which is integrated with the Active Directory of this vivo.com. Now it is saying here that what is the functional level, and here it is saying do you want to have the DNS server or not. Now if we have already installed the DNS services, then we will not select this, because we have already installed the DNS services and already we have the zone, created the zone, or we have created, so we will not select this. It will give me the option to remove, but this option we need compulsory, so it is not allowing me to remove it. Now you have to give the restore mode password, and then we are selecting the DNS, so it is going to install the DNS services also. And again it is saying that specify the DNS delegation. Here it is not having any delegation for vivo.com, so there is no DNS here. Actually it is not finding any DNS here and any DNS, and there is no delegation for the vivo.com. So it is saying there is no delegation, but it is going to create it. This is the NetBIOS name for the domain. And this is the database location. We'll go next, and this is we have selected. Now it is going to install, and you can see here verifying the prerequisites for the domain controller, and it is going to first install the DNS. So we can see here it is first verifying the requisites, and then it will say if it is all set, then we can install it. Now it has verified all the prerequisites. It says all set, everything is okay, so we can install it. Now when we select install, then you can see here it shows that the DNS services will be installed first. It is starting, and first it will install DNS, then it is going it will go for installing the Active Directory and other things. Now you see it is saying waiting for DNS installation to finish. So first it is installing the DNS, and then it will start configuring the zone, and now it is starting installing the other things. So basically first it needs the DNS, and then it will install the Active Directory services, whatever it is configuration it is going to install, and create these into the Active Directory DNS services. It is still installing, it is configuring. Now it is configuring the DNS server services on this computer for this domain, for this forest. Now it is completed, and now it is going to reboot. And it is rebooted now. So this is the one way, this is the first way to create the Active Directory services, the Active Directory integrated zone, by using just promoting the DNS, promoting the server to be a domain controller. So when it is a domain controller with Active Directory services, then it will create the DNS, it will install the DNS services, and also it will create the zone which is integrated to Active Directory. Now it is ready, vivo.com. And now we have a server here with the domain controller. It is a domain controller with Active Directory services, and also it is having a DNS. Now when we check the DNS here, tools and DNS, so this is our DNS server, server 3 itself, and when we open it, so we have the forward lookup zone, and in the forward lookup zone we have these two zones created. Now these two zones, first is for the services resources records. This is all related to services, MSD, SC, DC, DCS, Microsoft Directory Services, and this is for the zone. This is the zone for vivo.com, our domain, and this zone is Active Directory integrated. We have not created the zone, it is created automatically with the Active Directory services, and this zone is Active Directory integrated, where we have these services records. We can see these records. When you create normal DNS server, you will not see these records by default. This record contains the information about the domain controllers and the information about the services these domain controllers has, and these are all SRV records. This GC service is on server 3, Kerberos service is on server 3, LDAP service is on server 3. So all these records is there. These are related to sites, these are related to all services, TCP services and UDP services. So all these services, which server is handling these services, these all records are called SRV records, and these records are on the Active Directory integrated zone because it has the integrated to Active Directory. Now when you check the property of this zone, so you can see this zone is running, and this zone is Active Directory integrated. It is Active Directory integrated, and also the replication option selected to all domain controllers in this domain, and also it is having the secure update enabled. You can see the dynamic update is enabled, and that is secure update. So this server, this zone is actually integrated to Active Directory. Now how we created this? We have not created the zone, we have promoted the server to be a domain controller. Now it is already a domain controller now, and now I want to create a new zone, and that zone I want to create with Active Directory integrated. So I can create by right clicking on forward zone, and then I want to select new zone. Or let's say for example here under the reverse zone. Now reverse zones are not being configured. If you see here, there is no reverse zone here. So for Active Directory, basically reverse zones are not required, and you will never required reverse zone anytime in your life. For Microsoft Active Directory services, this reverse zone is never required, and because of that it does not create the reverse zone. So it does not create the reverse zone because it does not require it. So it does not required here. But now I want to create new zone first, which is a separate zone for Active Directory integrated, separate than the VO. So let's say for example I will create new primary zone, and here I have the option to select this feature. So this is only the option. If you don't want, then you remove this, and if you want, then you can just select it. So you want to create Active Directory integrated, you have to select this checkbox. You remove it, it will create non-Active Directory integrated. Now when you don't select this and you go there, then it will ask for the zone name. Let's say for example I will give oppo.com. Now it says that it is going to store the file for the zone into this location Windows System 32 DNS directory as a normal text file. Now because I have selected not to integrate with Active Directory, but I can do this, I can integrate with Active Directory because this is the domain controller. Here it is saying that available only if DNS server is a writable domain controller. So if you are creating the DNS zone in the machine which is a domain controller, then we can use this feature. Now when you select this and go next, so it says how you want to replicate. Now the options are changed. It is saying how you want to replicate it. So you want to replicate to all the servers, DNS servers running on domain controllers in the forest. So it is going to store the information for this zone into that application partition of Active Directory, which is going to replicate into all the domain controller in the forest. And if we select to all DNS servers running on a domain controller in this domain, that means it is going to store the information into the Active Directory replication partition. It is going to store the information in the partition which is going to replicate into the all the domain controller in this particular domain, that is vivo.com. So it is going to store that this information of this zone into that application partition of Active Directory, or we can select to all domain controller in this domain only. So it is going to store this into that custom application partition. Or if suppose we created in Active Directory a separate application partition, so we will get this option also available. That is for the custom partition we create in Active Directory partition. But right now we don't have any Active Directory partition created, custom partitions, we have only these default partitions. So we are getting this option is not available. It says to all domain controllers specified in the scope of this directory partition. So when you create the partition, you will get the option here. Right now we don't have. So I'm going to select this. Now when you go next, it is asking for the domain zone name. I'll say here this oppo.com. Now you see it is not asking for the file because it is not storing the information in any file. Now the DNS information is going to store into the Active Directory database. And now we have this option also available which says allow only secure dynamic update. That is only available when you have Active Directory. And this zone is Active Directory integrated. If you don't create Active Directory integrated zone, then you will not have the secure update. Still you have the option to update dynamic, but that is unsecure. And this option, if you select unsecure, this is what a significant security vulnerability, because updates can be accepted from untrusted sources. So update means the records of the machines, like what is the name and IP address of the machine. These records are updated from the client itself. So who can do the update? It decides by this option. So when you select dynamic update, so two options, secure and unsecure. So clients can do update which is not secure, which is not part of the domain if you select this. But we can select this to have a secure update, because when we have the Active Directory and only the authenticated clients, only authenticated machines can do the update in this DNS zone. And this we can select only for the Active Directory integrated zone. So normally if your zone is not integrated to Active Directory, you should not allow the dynamic update because it can create a significant security vulnerability. Now it is integrated to Active Directory, so we can create this and then finish. So we created another zone here, oppo.com, and this is also integrated to Active Directory. So we can see this is also an integrated to Active Directory. So we have two options to create integrated zone. First, you can do promote the server to be a domain controller with the DNS services, and then it will create the zone for the domain with the integrated to Active Directory. Or you can create the integrated zone manually also, but it can do only create when the DNS services are installed in the Active Directory domain controller. And for Active Directory you don't require reverse zone, but if you want, then you can create it manually, and that zone can also be created as a Active Directory integrated. Primary zone and again Active Directory integrated, and this is going to do the replication to the domain. Reverse zone for IPv4, and then you will mention the IP network for it, only the network ID, and then you can select to have allowed dynamic update, and then you can finish. So this is also a reverse zone which resolve the name from IP to the domain name, and it is also but it is the Active Directory integrated zone. Now this will do what? These will do have the dynamic update. For example, this oppo.com, in the oppo.com we don't have the A record for the server. So how we will create? We can create manually by selecting this option. We can create the record manually for the server into this or any record, because we have selected if suppose we have selected no dynamic update, so records we have to create manually here. Now like this, but if you have selected the record to be updated dynamically, then it can be created, the records can be created dynamically from the client side. Let's say for example I will go to I will open CMD here, and I myself want to create the register the record. Suppose the client, it will do automatically, but user can do manually also, update the record in DNS by using the command ipconfig register DNS. This command will do what? It will try to register the DNS the record for this system into the DNS server. Now here we don't have any record for the server 3. Now I will refresh it and it will come, and here you can see the record is there in the reverse zone. You see the IP and the name for this server, and it comes automatically because it is updated dynamically. And here you can see it is not static, it is dynamic, it is updated on this date. So it is accepting the dynamic update these zones because it is integrated to Active Directory. And we can do that by using this ipconfig command.